All right, guys, this is Lee with Untapped Potential. We are back in the league. Took a day off. We're going to try again. Hopefully this time we'll run into a little less aggro, which, as we've seen, we are ill-equipped to deal with in Game 1, better equipped to deal with in Game 2, and Game 3 is just a tremendous toss-up. This is good information to have, though. I'm considering just going to a more of a green-white focus, possibly taking out the spiders to begin with, so that the only black source in the deck, or not black source, excuse me, but the only card that uses black in the deck would be Doomwake Giant, which I do think is worth it as a curve topper. So that's something to think about, but in the meantime, the deck is already locked in. We can't change it, or we can change it, but just not for purposes of the league here. So at the moment, we got to dance with who brought us. So once we find an opponent here, we'll get started. I'll probably cut here, and I'll cut back to y'all when this match gets started. We've got a match. Let's get started. Okay, as per usual, we lose the dice roll because, never lucky. What do we have here? We have a Nyx Weaver, we have 3 mana, we have some Crufix's Insight. It's a keep, and our opponent mulliganed, so sure, why not? Our opponent says, hi, good luck, have fun. You too, I say. Alright, there's the Temple of Deceit. He's going to get the Scry. We're just going to go ahead and yield to abilities, and yield to end of turn. And yes, I know there are keyboard shortcuts for these, but I don't trust myself to not hit them. I like having to actually hold the mouse in my hand. It makes me think a little more about this. So there's a Caves of Koilos. So our opponent appears to be in the Esper color combination, which is blue, black, white. Not necessarily in that order. Jungle Hollow enters tapped. I can't do anything else this turn. We can play Sylvan Caryatid next turn, which will be good for us. So the current Esper deck in the format is Esper Dragons, utilizing the Dragon Lords from the Dragons of Tarkir expansion. And has a lot of nice toys to play with. So maybe that's what we're up against here. Maybe we're up against something that I've never heard of before. We will find out. So our opponent plays another land here and ends their turn. This might be a control deck, which tends to be doing its own thing. Okay, so here's the Courser of Crufix. We're going to go ahead and green here for Sylvan Caryatid. See if our opponent decides to let that resolve. If they do, I can't imagine that they would counter that, but you never know. We'll go ahead and also play our Jungle Hollow and yield till end of turn. We now have access to effectively 4 mana, since our Sylvan Caryatid can tap to add 1 of any color. So next turn we can play the Eidolon of Blossoms to get some draw power going and get our way towards Starfield of Nyx. Or we can play it a little safer and play Courser of Crufix. Okay, here's Foul Tongue Invocation, which he's going to use to make us sacrifice a creature. So that's one way to get around Hexproof, and since he did reveal a dragon, which in the revealed card saw, yep, it's Dragonlord Ojutai, so like we thought, it is Esper Dragons. Okay, well now that we no longer have the Caryatid, but we did draw a land, the play here is most assuredly to run out Courser of Crufix. If our opponent's going to let us, I think there may be a counterspell coming here. Because they did that at their they did that at my last end step. When did they do that to untap that? I'm a little confused here. It's not the first time that's happened. I would suppose they had to have done that during my last turn? I'll go back and rewatch the footage. I was looking at my own hand, and if you blink for a second, you can miss stuff on this. That is one of the things with the more graphically intense Magic Origins makes clearer. So our opponent seems to be having a bit of a time deciding what they want to do here. They might want to be trying to counter this in order to, theoretically keep me from getting that 4th mana that they don't know I have, because Courser would let me get it off the top of my library. Maybe. And they might be trying to keep my field clear as well, so we're just going to wait and see what they do. Well, while we're waiting, okay, here's the counterspell. Yep, there's Dissolve. So it's just straight up hard counter and they get a scry. I don't love it, but I get it. Okay, so our opponent got their scry on. Well, 2 can play that game. So now we get a scry. Let's see what we have here. Waiting on our opponent to... I mean, they can't do anything about this. This is a land ability. There's no way to counter it. Unless they want to respond to it somehow, but okay. So our top card is yet another Jungle Hollow. And I really want to get to that last mana for Starfield of Nyx, so I'm going to leave it on top. And that'll do it for this turn. Next turn we can drop the Eidolon to draw a card, if our opponent doesn't drop Dragonlord Ojutai first. But they have the land for it, so I'd be very surprised if they didn't. And oh my goodness, I just noticed what land... Okay, this is a bit of really weird nerd ephemera here that I'm about to tell you all about. But so those lands that they played are... Those islands are what are called Guru lands. A series of lands that all had a similar art. Those things, I don't know what they cost online, but I can tell you in paper... It costs some serious paper. So, I don't think our opponent really had to worry about budget when they were playing. Let's just go ahead and put it that way. There's another Courser Krufix. And I honestly have no idea how I've not actually played Esper Dragons. At least not with this deck. So I'm not quite sure what I need to be doing here, whether I just need to keep spamming the field and hoping for the best. But our opponent here is clearly a very established player, which is pretty cool. Okay, so we can't block or do anything about it here, but we've gained a bunch of life, so we're just going to go ahead and eat this. Take 5. Alright, so now he gets to look at the top 3 cards of his library and basically draw one of them. It's not exactly scrying, but it's pretty much scry. Scry wasn't actually in this set, and it only recently just became an evergreen keyword, which means wizards can print it in any set they want to. The other ones are like flying and trample, really basic stuff, whereas the more obscure stuff like Constellation is not evergreen. It goes from set to set. Hey, it's Bile Blight. Kill my Eidolon. More's the pity. He still has enough mana up to potentially have a counterspell next turn for our Starfield of Nyx, which we really need to resolve. But for lack of any other options, I think we're just going to have to try it here. Another Courser of Krufix. Okay, so let's just go ahead and add everything we got there for Starfield and hope it resolves. Can't do anything else. I'm just going to yield till end of turn and sit here with fingers crossed. He does have blue colorless, though, so there's a... Oh, okay. No dissolve. I was worried. All right, we got there. We got the Starfield out. We can start casting stuff from our graveyard every turn, unless, this just gets destroyed during his turn here. But I can't think that he'd be boarding Enchantment Hate main board. Post sideboard, absolutely. I'm sure he's got at least 3 erases in his sideboard, which is going to wreck us in the next game. I can already tell you that. So, Erase, by the way, is a 1-mana white instant that just says destroy target enchantment, i.e. pretty much everything we've got going on here. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and activate Starfield of Nyx to bring back our Eidolon of Blossoms. Yes, we would love to use Starfield's ability. And now we get to draw a card off our Eidolon since it entered the battlefield. Yay! Oh look, it's Doomwake and Sigil, okay. Sigil is exactly what we needed here. I don't think it's going to resolve, but I have to try. Because that will give us 4/4 flyers, which we will desperately need in order to start blocking Ojutai, as we're only 3 hits away from death. A 5/4 body can do a lot of damage very quickly. Okay, this time we're not getting lucky. It's just getting straight up. Oh no! So now he's just making us sacrifice a creature instead, and he'll gain more life. Alright, there goes the Eidolon, which I'll just bring back next turn. Okay. And Sigil of the Empty Throne comes in. I mean, maybe he has a negate or something. Maybe we're not done here. I don't know. Desperately need to start making angels, though, because like I said, we are on a hard clock here. I'm tapped out, and I can't do anything else, so we're just going to go ahead and pass. So next turn, our Starfield of Nyx will bring us back our Eidolon yet again, and then we can start playing other enchantment creatures to generate angels for us. which will be very important, although I think it might already be a little too late with this one, since Ojutai has been beating in the air for 3 turns, making sure our opponent draws the very best stuff they have access to, or if not the best stuff, the stuff they most need. So our opponent probably has answers to the threats that we're going to present, but nevertheless, we're going to let it play, because there is a world where we managed to recover from all this. I do wish I had a way to deal with the Ojutai, but at the moment, I really don't. Okay, so here comes another scry from our opponent, who's, once again, just getting everything they need. Alright, so Starfield of Nyx's activated ability, targeting Eidolon. Okay, yes. We do want to use that, so this lets us, I'm just going to go ahead and always yield to that, so we get to draw a card here, and okay, we have to cast it, not just put it onto the battlefield. So it's kind of a non-bow with the sigil there, but you know what? It's fine. So what's the best way to do all this? We're going to start by doing green, green, black for a Courser of Crufix. And we don't even have to resolve this. We just have to cast it, which we have done. And our opponent seems to be letting it all happen anyway. So, okay. So on top of our library is a Nyx Weaver, which we are going to draw off our Eidolon of Blossoms Constellation ability. We find a land on top, which is exactly what I was hoping for. We can play it off the top using Courser's ability, which lets us gain a life. Good. And at this point, I'm going to run out the Nyx Weaver that our opponent just saw, that he knows we have, in order to give ourselves yet another angel, yet another creature, yet another card off Eidolon of Blossoms. And finally, most importantly, what it will give us is a creature with reach, which we can use to block Dragonlord Ojutai. So we can't do anything else this turn, and as we go to the... Actually, we can. One of our angels isn't summon sick, aren't they? Oh yeah, and we now have enough stuff that Starfield and Sigil are now creatures. So I'm going to attack with the... Okay, both the angels are summon sick, but I can attack with the Sigil. You know what? I'm not going to overthink this. I'm not going to get cute. I don't want to walk into something that he can just kill it. I mean, sure, he can do it in step, which he appears to be doing, because... No, wait, this is a dig through time or a treasure? It's a dig through time. He's casting a bunch of mana and delving stuff out of the graveyard. So he's digging through time. He gets to look at the top 7 cards of his library and take 2 of them into his hand and put the rest on the bottom. So he's digging for answers, probably in the form of a Crux of Fate, which if he finds it, he can use to destroy our entire field, including our Sigil, heartbreakingly, and that will let him keep his Dragonlord alive. So basically, I'm sure that's what he's going for right now. We just have to hope he doesn't get it. It's also once we get to the cleanup step, we'll have to discard a card from our hand. We're going to discard a Doomwake Giant that we can reanimate with Starfield next turn. Here's the cleanup. We'll go ahead and throw away the Doomwake. Okay, show me Crux of Fate. Okay, there's or Ugin, the Spirit Dragon. That would also work. Either of these would work. Hey, Crux of Fate, destroying all non-dragon creatures, which unfortunately does include my Sigil. So I should have attacked with it. Ah, well, them's the breaks. So our opponent gets to attack us here again. Ow. And we go to 4. So now we have to make some difficult decisions. We get our Starfield next turn, which I think the play here is to use to get back our Sigil, in which case we then spam Courser and Nyx Weaver onto the field to make more angels for potential defense. I think that's just what we have to do here in order to have a defender, because otherwise Dragonlord Ojutai is just going to kill us in the air next turn. So we're going to get Sigil. Yes, we would love to cast it. I don't really see any way to not do that here. I'm going to play Llanowar Waste, give us an extra land. Should have played Courser first. Punt. But, you know, that's okay. It's 1 life, which against the 5/4 would not make a difference. Yield till end of turn. Always yield to Sigil. Okay, we reveal the top card of our library. Let's see what we got. It's another Windswept Heath. Yeah, I definitely should have played the Courser first. Big time misplay on my part. I completely own up to that. Alright, so we go ahead and run out Nyx Weaver here, giving us yet another angel. And a reach creature. And that is all she wrote, folks. So, does our opponent in their 5-card hand have a way to get around our stuff, like using Ugin the Spirit Dragon? Do they have, here's a, what we got at 3 mana? Oh, another Delve Dig Through Time, so they're almost certainly going to dig their way to yet another Crux of Fate here, and if they do, they get it, just because they'll blow up our creatures and they'll attack us, and we will die. So, show me Crux of Fate. Or Ugin the Spirit Dragon, that will also work. And I think it's Ugin. Yep, there's the Ugin. So now he can use -3 and win the game, because that will clear our entire board. Alright, concede. He got it. So, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Basically, we've got to find a way to get rid of Ojutai. Which means we got to bring in our suspension fields, which, let me make sure where is the way to display my preview pane? Yes, thank you. All right, so suspension field, whenever it decides to load in the preview field, there we go. It exiles target creature with toughness 3 or greater. We can only do that once Ojutai has attacked, though. So now we have to cut 4 cards from the deck. Farrakha, I don't think is going to do us much good here. She's difficult to bring online on a good day. I think cutting 1 Starfield is a good play. We want 1, and we need all the sigils we can get. We want our Banishing Lights. Doomwake isn't actually going to do much. I don't think there's a way we're going to Constellation trigger 4 times in a turn to kill something like Ojutai. And our opponent doesn't really have any small creatures. That's not the sort of deck we're up against. So actually, I'm going to cut the Doomwakes, and I'm going to put the Starfield back in, as it could potentially, from its own, well, no, it's others. So unless I got both of them on the field, it would not animate itself as a 5/5, like I was about to say. But still, we saw how good that was last time, getting the stuff back, and I think that we pretty much have to ride on that. Okay, we would love to play first, and I'm going to leave the preview window up here. I've been meaning to do that all along. Okay, so we have Herald of the Pantheon here, Courser, Kruphix. It's okay. It's not the best hand we've had, but it'll play. Especially if the Herald lets us get a Courser out on the cheap. We'll go ahead and pass here. We do have both of our colors as well, although admittedly the Llanowar Waste is gonna hurt. Fortunately, I'm pretty sure getting the Herald out on turn 2, I don't really see a way we get countered here, unless, of course, our opponent discards it, which they will. They're thought seizing us, which lets them look at our hand. They have to pay 2 life, but they get to discard 1 card from it. And I think interrupting our turn 2 play on Herald here is definitely the right play. Because if we, yep, there he goes. Because he now knows that if we don't hit our 3rd land naturally now, we won't have Courser to help us, in which case we will die. Joke's on him, though. We got Temple of Silence. He knows also now, if he was paying any attention at all, that that's what we drew this turn. Our top card is a Forest, which I'm going to leave on top. I just want to make sure we get that 4th land. And that's all she wrote for us this turn. I think maybe keeping that was a poor idea, so I should have tried to draw a gas, but I've got Kruphix's Insight to dig for that. And we will... And this way I get to... Of course this was the right play. This way I get to put Courser onto the battlefield, because I needed the double green. Yeah, that was it. That was my reason all along, he says, unconvincingly. Okay, so our opponent's taking their time with the Scry trigger here. We draw a card. It's a Forest. Very surprising. Who knew? So now we're going to play the Forest. We're going to take 1 damage to play the Forest, and then we're going to run out Courser of Kruphix. Reviewing the top card of our library is a Courser of Kruphix. Cool. So we managed to stick a creature, and we should be able to get in with some damage for this with Courser. Not a lot, and frankly, I'm not too worried about it, but anything is something at this point. So our opponent does nothing. They're probably holding up a counterspell here. We draw. Our top card is yet another copy of Nyxweaver, which I frankly don't think we need. Let's go ahead and go to combat here, see what our opponent does. Maybe I should have played the land first in case they Hero's Downfall the Courser, but seeing as how they just watched us draw another one, I don't think they'll do that. I don't see them thinking that's very much value in there. And frankly, they're right. Okay, so here's Plains. We gain a life every time we play a land, so we're back to 20. Makes up for that sting we took the last turn. And then I'm going to do green. I keep forgetting I can tap everything we have for black now. So I'm going to tap this for black, this for black as well, why not? And I'm going to go ahead and play Nyxweaver here, so we can start just self-milling. Oh, nope, here comes the counterspell. So our opponent uses the Flooded Strand to go get themselves an island so that he can do blue, black for what I assume will be a dissolve on the Nyxweaver. So we get to draw another one and try again next turn. Little does he know, we already have one. Yep, there's the dissolve, so Nyxweaver does get countered. More's the pity. And that's it for us this turn. Have fun, buddy. See what he does here. Probably nothing. He's probably just going to pass. Okay, so we draw. We go ahead and get our Nyxweaver, and we find Starfield on top. Very good. All right, so here's what we're going to do next. We're going to go ahead and... yeah, we'll do this in main phase 1. I'm going to go ahead and use the Crufix's Insight. Assuming he lets us. Nope. Thanks, but no thanks, he says. Silumgar's Scorn. So he reveals a dragon. $5 as its Oshutai. Yup. Which means he counters it. It's just a hard counter. So we get nothing. Good day. Alright, fine. I was hoping to get to search my library to get Starfield off top, and hopefully after sifting through 6 cards, we'd have a land on top so we could get to land number 5 off Courser. Didn't get there, though. Oh well, we'll just draw the Starfield next turn, and this is probably a guarantee that he won't run out the Oshutai in his hand because he's probably going to want to hold up Counterspell for Starfield. But I've been wrong before. Then again, maybe it's just he feels comfortable thinking that, unless I get a untapped land off Courser's ability, I'm not going to get there. So he probably just feels comfortable knowing that. Ow. Going to go ahead and play a second Courser Crufix here. Maybe should have played the Nyxweaver, but really right now I want that Suspension Field. And I'm not going to attack. So, that's all she wrote. I can't do anything this turn either, so I'm going to save time here. It's nice to be playing against something that isn't red aggro. Sure, this is a tough match for us, and there's a lot of decisions to be made, but at least it's different. Okay, so here comes the Dragon Lord. We cannot block, and the fact that he is, in fact, leaving himself potentially vulnerable here suggests to me that he doesn't care. That, he knows suspension, he sees Suspension Field, he knows it's coming, and he just does not care. So we draw it, and what do you know? Here's another one. Well, guys, let's go ahead and get in with the damage first here. Might as well. I wish we had one more land. So knock our opponent down to 10 here. Okay, what's he doing? Okay, there's Foul Tongue Invocation, requiring us to sack a creature, which I'm really surprised he did right now, but he also then gained 4 life. So what are you showing me now? Okay, he's got another Dragon Lord Oshutai, which I guess is why he's not particularly miffed about losing this one, because he'll just have another. Still, we're making him use his stuff as opposed to just having it as backup. So here comes Suspension Field. So let's go ahead and Oshutai. Ha! Take that, yeah, hexproof son of a be nicely PG channel. Okay, get there. And now we can always do it again next turn. Actually, hold on. I think our opponent may still have a counterspell. He may have negate or something, and I may have boasted way too soon. And then wouldn't I look like a jerk? Oh, yes, I would love to use my own ability. Okay. That felt good. Alright, show me the next one. I'll deal with it too. Like the stubborn little cuss that I am. And if nothing else, we're winning on time. Not by a lot. So, okay, our opponent doesn't actually do anything here. Interesting. So, maybe waiting for us to overextend? I don't know. We're going to go ahead and play the Jungle Hollow off the top using Courser of Krufix's ability, which I'm going to go ahead and just set to be an auto yield. And then we gain a life off Jungle Hollow, so we gain 2 life here, which actually puts us to the point where he'd have to hit us 3 times with an Ojutai, or 4 times with an Ojutai instead of 3. It's a big difference. It may seem, kind of petty and small, but it's a big difference. Okay, let's go ahead and begin combat. Attack here with the Courser of Krufix. Our opponent, they may Foul Tongue Invocation again, but I don't think so. I think they're holding up their counter magic here. Let us oblige him with Nyx Weaver. Okay, so we get to do that too. I guess he was maybe hoping I'd play Starfield and thus kept his removal up for that. Or maybe he's going to dig through time at the end of his turn here. That's probably what it is. Okay, no, it's Bile Blight. Alright, so the spider gets swatted, but yeah, these things happen. Okay. Oh, something else too. Here is the dig through time. Yep. Okay, so he delved a bunch of cards out and killed my dude. Which is unfortunate, but, whatever. These things happen. Yield till end of turn, so we don't have to worry about our opponent here. And what are you going to get? Is he going to find the Crux of Fate? Maybe. I mean, this... freaking value and tempo, man. This guy's got it all. Sorry, get some water there. Alright, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Ojutai come back down this turn. Ooh, he's thought seizing me first, though. I'm not happy about it, but okay, so say goodbye to probably Suspension Field. Starfield. Okay, yeah, probably a good pick, because that would ultimately start giving me recursion and value, which he can't afford. Okay, he does not actually play his card here, which suggests to me that what he's actually going to do is dig through time again at the end of this turn. And we're going to go ahead and swing for the fences here. Or perhaps not. What is it? Hero's Downfall? Yep. Okay, so we didn't get in with that, which means he probably doesn't have removal online anymore. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to take this opportunity to dig deep ourselves with Krufix's Insight in order to find our way to Sigil of the Empty Throne, Idol of Blossoms, and Banishing Light. And then we put the rest of these into our graveyard. Womp, womp, womp. Okay, value. I unfortunately now can't follow through by actually playing anything this turn because we have not found as many lands as I would like. I mean, we reached 5. We've hit the big number. And our opponent does not have enough, actually, to dig through time here. So, good. He's 1 short in the graveyard, unless I'm miscounting. And I don't think that I am. So this match has been pretty good for us so far, or this game has been pretty good for us so far. Next turn we can drop Sigil of the Empty Throne and then start going off shortly thereafter. Here comes, I believe this would be the Ojutai. Nope, it's digging through time during his own main phase. That's not something you see every day. He's digging for something very deliberately, and what bothers me is that I'm not entirely sure what. I mean, maybe he's trying to find the erases, trying to erase my suspension field to get his first Dragon Lord back, maybe? Digging for Ugin? That wouldn't surprise me. He's at 7 lands, though, so... I mean, I'm freely admitting that I'm not quite sure what our opponent's trying to do here. I mean, he's presenting the counter... Actually, he's not presenting the counter magic. All his blues, he doesn't have 2 blue. which all the counter magic I can think of needs 2 blue. So we are just going to try to jam out Sigil of the Empty Throne here and hope it works. It does. Okay, it resolves. That's it. Now that we've got that on the field, we're doing okay. And he'd have to do a big negative to Ugin to get rid of that. Alright, here's the second Dragon Lord Oshitai, who has hexproof while he's untapped. So I can't do anything about it using any of the stuff in my hand at the moment. So what I can do, however, is just start spamming every enchantment I can. Starting with probably Eidolon of Blossoms in order to draw a bunch of cards. Pretty sure that's what we do here. Our opponent does have 2 blue, so they could Silumgar Scorn us here. So maybe the play is to play Courser of Kruphix here, since I already have enough cards in my hand. Yeah, let's try that first. See if we can draw out his counterspell, maybe. Go ahead and play Courser of Kruphix. Go ahead and auto-yield to Sigil of the Empty Throne. Okay, let's see if Courser resolves here. He may have... Okay, no, he didn't. And we have a land on the top, so we're going to play it. Gain a life. I'm going to also just go ahead and go get myself another forest. At which point I'm going to pay green, black, colorless, and play Nyx Weaver. And that is all she wrote. Okay, so now that I've overextended, I'm going to walk right into a Crux of Fate here. But the important thing is that 2 of my creatures are just recurable tokens, so yeah, I'll lose them. It'll stink. It happens. Maybe not, though. But probably. He does have his 8 mana now, so he could run out Ugin the Spirit Dragon. Nope, it's Crux of Fate. Like I said, you heard the man say it. We called it. Okay, so he's attacking here, which I guess means is obvious that he's holding up, counter magic for the suspension field he knows I have. I don't remember if he knows I have Banishing Light or not. So hopefully we can do the cheeky, what is that? Ashiok. Okay, so he just exiled the top 3 cards of our library using Ashiok's ability, and 2 of them were lands, and a Kruphix's Insight. You can have them, buddy. Alright, here's Eidolon of Blossoms, and our opponent's completely tapped out here. So, hi, Suspension Field. How's it going? Hey, Oshitai? Lee, you've misplayed again. Eidolon of Blossoms, then Suspension Field, you scrub. I normally do not endorse bad-mouthing, but it's me, and I can do what I want. Okay, so let's pretend like we did it all on purpose, and once again run out the Courser of Kruphix. And I have not played a land this turn, I don't think, so show me my top card again. Oh, there. Well, our opponent's going to mill that with Ashiok next turn, which means they could actually potentially play it in the future. So, let's see if our opponent has yet another Crux of Fate. Yeah? Are they feeling lucky? Well, are they? We will see. Okay, there goes Ashiok taking the top 3 again, which means he got Sigil and a Kruphix's Insight and a Suspension Field. Well, that stinks. He can use both. He can minus X. Oh no, it's only creature cards. Lee, shut your mouth. You don't know what you're doing. I don't know why you people watch me. I'm terrible. Okay, so we're going to draw a card here. Find Llanowar Wastes, and the top card is a Banishing Light. Let's just go ahead and run out the land here in order to get our Kruphix's life gain ability. And because we're playing a tight game of Magic with no mistakes ever, we are going to... I'm really not that worried about Ashiok, so we're just going to go face here. If all these hit, our opponent will go to 2. So let's just go face. I'm really not that worried about Ashiok. He hasn't exiled anything really worth taking yet. Actually, he can't play anything with it, and he's not going to mill me to death. Okay, here's Bile Blight, giving all my angels -3/-3. So, okay, so he only is going to take 4 damage. Unless he's got a second Bile Blight, in which case I'm going to be extremely cranky. No, he doesn't. Okay, he goes to 8 here. And in the second main phase, I'm going to go ahead and maybe possibly be overextending a little bit here, but get one Eidolon of Blossoms out to draw a card and get another Angel to have untapped. Go ahead and okay. His ability is on the stack. I will draw a card. I have enough mana left to... Yeah, okay. Nothing left to do here. Yield till end of turn. Alright, we're in a good spot here, and nothing short of basically him dropping and -5ing an Ugin. Is there any way that he gets out of this? He's going to dig through time, though, so he's going to try and find it. Even if he does, though, we can then just Banishing Light it and just get back on the pain train. So I'm not too concerned here. I'm pretty sure Ugin is pretty much his only out here. So, show me the Ugin. Okay, there go the top 3 of our library. Revealing Sigil. Okay, here's the Ugin. God darn, I hate being right all the time. Okay, so he's going to probably use it to -5 ability here, which will destroy literally everything. And the one thing I did forget here is this will give him back one of his Dragon Lords. Since they're legendary creatures, he will immediately have to sacrifice one of them. So, sucks for us. Sylvan Caryatid here is pretty good. We're going to go ahead and drop her just to get a creature back on board. And then, in order to prevent any further Ugin shenanigans, we're going to go ahead and drop Banishing Light, targeting Ugin the Spirit Dragon, who can get the heck off my field. Okay, so now we just have to deal with Dragon Lord Ojutai beating at us for a while. But I think we'll get there, because if he taps it next turn and doesn't keep removal up, we'll have another Banishing Light and Eidolon of Blossoms with enough mana to do both. So we may be able to squeak our way out of this. No blocks, so our opponent hits us. We go to 8. He gets to anticipate, looking at the top 3 cards again. I don't know why I haven't just yielded till end of turn. I can't do anything here. Let's save our time in case we go to game 3. Winning on time is kind of scummy, but I mean, a win's a win, right? If he wants, that's a penalty for playing a control deck, right? Right. Okay. Green, green, white. Colorless. Eidolon of Blossoms. See if we resolve this. He may not want me to in order to prevent me, from drawing cards. He might be trying to starve me out on resources. Looks like he is. Okay, there's the dissolve. Good. You activated my trap card. Banishing Light. I know. Oh, he had 2 counter spells. Alright. So he did. He was ready for us there. Can he reveal a dragon? Oh, for God's sake. Alright. We'll go ahead and scry 1. We're going to put that on the bottom. We do not need a land here, and yield till end of turn. Alright, we're 2 turns from dead here, just because our opponent's just going to start beating us to death with an Ojutai. And given the we are top decking, and he has 4 cards in his hand, and really good lands and stuff, I'm pretty sure we're just done here. He's going to hit us down to 3 here, and I'm pretty sure that... I'm not sure of anything I have I can draw that'll get us out of this, because even if we deal with this Dragon Lord, he'll just sacrifice Haven of the Spirit Dragon to get the other one from his graveyard back. I don't see us getting out of this one alive. And a Sandstep Citadel certainly isn't going to do it. Which now means there's only one question left. Tap, 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 concede. Well played, opponent. You got there. GG, well played. Well, guys, that one was certainly much more interesting, even if it didn't quite end the way we wanted. This is Lee with Untapped Potential. Let's try it again.